Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 MyTeam career mode. We are going to be heading to the Australian Grand Prix this weekend, round 3 of the championship. We're going to be doing some upgrades real quick, possibly looking at some aerodynamics as well as some chassis. Probably not our powertrain because technically we do have the most powerful powertrain on the grid, so don't really have to look into upgrades on that, but upgrades in other departments of the car, not so much durability, but we do have some resource points to play around with. We got some both aero, powertrain, and chassis minor developments in the process of developing, so hopefully we are able to get those heading into this Grand Prix. Hopefully none of them are able to fail or anything like that, but as you can see, possibly looking for a in the chassis department area. As we scroll through here, you're going to see some discounted parts which we were able to obtain during the practice programs, get a discount on various upgrades. So we are going to upgrade the floor on the chassis, hopefully make it a little bit lighter and redistribute that weight. But we still have about 900 resource points to play around with. But I think we are going to hold off on those until as we progress into the rest of the week. But as you can see, we are going to be looking at possibly upgrading some of our facilities. Probably nothing on the chassis development since it's already Spec 1 since the beginning of the season. Not really sure if I wanted to commit to anything right now, as we are still kind of strapped for cash, as we only have $2 million in the bank. So probably going to hold off on that for now as we possibly look into some second driver upgrades. But we decided, like I said, just to hold off, just to get some more money in the bank. That way we don't, have to shut down the facilities and lose precious time to upgrade the car. But as we head into the rest of the week, we are going to fill out our calendar on activities to do. Just looking through the standings as well. But like I said, we are going to be hopping into the activities list just to see what we can do. Hopefully we are able to, boost morale for the whole team and departments, as well as our second driver. But ultimately we are going to settle down with the simulator training for Felipe to get up the experience as well as the focus on him, hopefully able to help him during the rest of the season, as well as some aero team building, boost that morale. Going to lose a little bit of cash, but not too worried about that, as we also going to look at the team morale. Was thinking about doing the durability team department focus, but decided to do the equipment upgrade. That way it just mainly focus on the durability part of the facilities and didn't affect everything else, as also the sponsoring event, just a little bit of team acclaim and getting rid of some cash. But as we scroll through the rest of the folders, we're going to see that we are still the second worst team on the grid. Hopefully these upgrades that are be coming in before this race weekend will help us in bumping up some positions as well as overall pace. As we skim and advance through the rest of the week heading up to the Grand Prix, you're going to see that all of our upgrades that we were expecting did come in without any failures. So that's going to be a major morale boost for the whole team, as well as me and Felipe. Hopefully those upgrades can help us get just a little bit closer to possibly P11, 12, or maybe even points. As you can see, we did jump up a few places on the R&D chart. But we got the spark plugs, aerodynamic upgrade, and we are also going to upgrade a few more things before we head into the race weekend. As you see, we have 1,000 resource points, and sticking with the upgrades with the aerodynamics, we are going to look for the secondary wing angles on the aerodynamic side of the car. I'm trying to keep the car more stable through the corners, and hopefully able to hug the road a little bit more and carry more speed, as well as, helping on the chassis side and everything like that. I was thinking about doing a turbocharge tire or durability, but, we decided to ultimately just stick with the secondary wing flaps on the aerodynamic side. So we have purchased that upgrade. So hopefully we're able to get that before the next round at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But as of right now, we are just going to focus on this race weekend. Not going to upgrade anything else since we don't have that much resource points left. But as you can see, we are now well above Williams, or not well above, but we're just above Williams, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri, and just behind Haas. So that those upgrades did help us. Hopefully we were able to, keep that momentum up into practice, qualifying, and the race. And like I said before, hopefully looking for some points. But as we head back over to the overview, we have something to do in our marketing department. We are going to choose our rival between Yuki Tsunoda and Nick DeVries. And personally, I thought Nick DeVries was a little too easy, so I went ahead and went with Yuki Tsunoda. That way we can hopefully, challenge ourselves as well as be rewarded on a tougher talent. But as we advance through the rest of the week, before we head into the first practice session, we are actually going to go back into our facilities and upgrade the pit equipment. Have enough cash to, splurge a little bit, and hopefully that will help our pit stops, because last few times that we've gone in, it's been a little bit slow. So hopefully that will help us heading into the rest of the season. As we jump forward to look at the R&D chart, you will see that Haas has made a humongous jump from what was bottom of the pack to mid-pack, but it looks like pretty much everyone else has brought some upgrades, some minor upgrades, but it looks like Haas is the biggest shocker here. They have brought major upgrades, and like I said, they have jumped Alpine, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Williams, ourselves, as well as AlphaTauri. But on that note, hopefully we are able to, stay with those guys, and like I keep saying, just look for points, bottom of the barrel points. Any points would be amazing. Some other teams that brought some major upgrades is Ferrari as well, closing that gap to Red Bull and extending their gap to Mercedes and Aston Martin. But on that note, let's head into the first part of qualifying. At Q1, we are hit with a fault, but it only puts us behind about 2 minutes, so nothing too major to report. So let's go to our first flying lap in Q1 here at the Australian Grand Prix, heading into turn 1, heavy on the brakes, let the car flow on through, get on the power as soon as possible, extend those track limits, DRS wide open, heading down into turn 3, heavy on the brakes, down to third gear, if I can speak correctly. Again, letting the car just roll through, not get on power too much to upset the rear end as we come into the fast sweeping part of the section, or track, if you will. Setting a first sector, purple sector, of course, but we are the first ones on the track, so it won't really matter. As we head on the back straight, opening DRS wide open with our engine power, we are gaining on some time, but again, struggling through the corners. So hopefully these upgrades that we brought in will help us. As you can see, we are getting up behind some traffic of the Williams. Not too sure who it is yet, but it looks like they are going to be getting out of our way. Actually, it is Pierre Gasly, the Alpine. Luckily, he's able to get out of the way. It looks like he made a little mistake on his start of his flying lap. As we come through the final few corners, trying to let the car roll through, get on the power as soon as possible, open that DRS, and we are on the main straight. Hopefully it's a good time. It felt like a pretty good lap. Let's see where that puts us. It's going to be 4th overall, so pretty decent lap time. As we jump over to the final lap of qualifying 1 in a dying seconds. Hopefully we were able to gain some time on our previous lap, but let's continue this lap through. Coming out of turn 2, track limits, hitting the DRS wide open, getting up into 8th gear, hard on the brakes, down into 3rd, let the car roll through. But it looks like we make a little mistake as we get on power a little too much and then get in the wrong gear, and that's just completely ruined our lap. As you can tell, we are already down 5/10 within the first sector. So unfortunately, that is going to end it for us in qualifying 1, but we are continue on this lap just to see if we can gain some time and see where, if we are able to make it into Q2, where we can gain that time back, and so on and so forth. As we have a Haas right behind us, giving us a little bit of pressure, but again, just following this lap through, hopefully, seeing where the limits of the car is. But as qualifying comes to an end, we are going to be in P9 for now. But as we cross the line, it's not going to be an improvement. Obviously, as you can see, we actually gained some time back as we are only 3/10 down. So there's some time left on the table and from the previous lap. But hopefully we're able to hold off the guys behind as we have DRS wide open. And let's see what that will put us, as Kevin Magnussen goes faster, but not as fast as us. But that's going to come across the line, and we are going to be coming in P13. So we are going to be coming in qualifying Q2 for the second time in a row. Overall, pretty good session. Could have, made a little bit more time up in those last few sectors. But overall, we snuck through. No major knockouts. Maybe Esteban Ocon, that's kind of a rarity, as well as Lance Stroll. Again, he is knocked out in Q1, so he's definitely showing where his talent lies compared to Fernando Alonso, which is all the way up in the top 10, hell, even top 5. But with that, let's head to the beginning of qualifying 2. On our first flying lap, we actually hit some traffic of Guan Yu Zhou, which is going to lose us some time. So hopefully that will put us a pretty decent time on the board. I mean, a little mistakes. I mean, overall, it felt like a pretty good lap. But with Guan Yu Zhou blocking us a little bit, that's going to lose us a few tenths. But over the line, we are P10, so hopefully we can keep that up as we continue through on my second flying lap. We are up a whole second. No blocking involved, so we didn't have to worry about that. As we come across the line, we are going to be up about 1.2 seconds. That's going to put us up into P8. We are through to Q3 for the first time in our MyTeam career mode. What a crazy Q2, but let's go ahead and look at some surprise knockouts. Oscar Piastri is out of Q2, as well as both Hasses with those major upgrades that they brought to this race weekend. It looks like it really hasn't helped them over the one lap pace, as both Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg are out in Q2. But with that note, we are into Q3 for the first time in this career mode, so hopefully we can possibly get better than 10th, but as long as we are starting the points, that's the main goal. So on that note, let's go ahead and head into the first part of qualifying 3. As we jump on board our one and only flying lap in Q3 in the dying seconds of this lap, hopefully we are able to get above P10, but P10 is still already in the points. Overall, it was a pretty clean lap. Nothing major no traffic or anything. I will say this car feels amazing over one lap on light fuel, and it was just on rails during this qualifying session. But as we come out of the final corner, DRS wide open, Carlos Sainz goes provisional pole. As we come across the line, we are actually going to come home, and it's a P9 start for us. What an amazing qualifying session for the whole session. Q1, Q2, and Q3, both out-qualified, both McLarens, as well as both Hasses. Carlos Sainz is on pole, but like I said, what an amazing outcome for qualifying. Hopefully we can keep this momentum up into the rest of the race weekend on Sunday, and hopefully we are able to, look for some points. Maybe, hoping P8, 9, 10 maybe. But depending on what type of safety cars or incidents are involved, we may even look at some higher points. But as of right now, let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's head into the main event on Sunday, the Australian Grand Prix.
Well, once upon a time, this used to be the season opener before it fell victim to a pandemic reshuffling. But now Albert Park is back at the heart of the F1 calendar, so welcome to sun-kissed Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, the owner driver, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Magnussen, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Albon, Ocon, Stroll, Drugovic, De Vries, Tsunoda and Logan Sargent. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the...
As we look ahead at the beginning of the race, we're going to look at our race strategy. It looks like it's going to be a one-stop from mediums to hards. Hopefully, there's a safety car put in there to where we could possibly look for a two-stop if that's a little bit faster. But as of right now, mediums to hard is the way to go. As we join up with the rest of the grid, as we light up our rear tires, trying to get all the temperature into them to hopefully get a better launch off of the grid. As you can see, we got purple parking, which was amazing on our part. Hopefully we can benefit off of this off the start of the line. As we go to 5 red lights here at the Australian Grand Prix. And the lights are on for ages, but we are finally underway here at Australia, hopefully looking for positions to gain in the first few meters or corners of the first lap as we swoop around the outside of Sergio Perez, carrying the speed, hopefully looking for another move on Pierre Gasly, but it looks like he gets a little bit more traction down than we do, so we're going to tug in the slipstream behind him. As you can see, Perez is coming back on us, but we're going to catch Pierre Gasly napping, sneak it down on the inside, and we are up into P7. Getting a little frosty with Pierre Gasly, trying to squeeze him on the apex, but he was able to back out, and we are underway as we have already gained 2 positions in the first lap of this race. Hopefully we can carry that through the rest of the race, but as we come on the back straight, it looks like we're going to be under pressure from Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly as they have the slipstream, but we do not. We are trying to use some battery to defend, but it looks like Pierre Gasly is going to be ahead of us. We're going to try and keep on the inside of Sergio Perez, and we are able to push him out on the exit of that corner. Looks like he's going to drop back a little bit. So overall, we have gained 1 net position, possibly looking for another overtake on Pierre Gasly as he's a little bit slow through that corner, but nothing too major to worry about. As we come through the final sector of the lap, it looks like there's going to be some fighting ahead of us with George Russell and Fernando Alonso. Hopefully they can continue to squabble and we could carry the speed and join up to them and hopefully gain the positions. As you see, Piastri behind us overtook Perez, but as we jump forward through the lap, looks like we're going to be under pressure from Oscar Piastri. Again, they have the slipstream. We do not. DRS is not enabled yet, so we only have the battery to fight back with. As you can see, we are deploying battery. We are sticking with Piastri. Hopefully we can keep up on the inside, but it looks like we're just going to tuck in on and hopefully fight to live another day. As we get on the curbs a little bit, again looking in the mirrors at Sergio Perez, possibly looking for a move, trying to make Piastri, trying to force him into a mistake, but he was just nice and cool and collective. As we jump forward in the same position as the last 2 laps, we are going to be looking for a possible overtake, but Sergio Perez was right behind us. We do have DRS as it is open this lap, as we are gaining some time on Piastri, going a little bit wide, missing the apex a little bit, as a big snap of oversteer, so we are on the gravel, which is going to concede the position to Sergio Perez as we are down into P10. And then he makes a mistake as he looks like he locks up a little bit, so we're able to sneak on the inside, hopefully keep side by side through here, squeeze him a little bit on the exit, but he's able to keep his nose in on the second to last corner. As we come out of the final quarter, we are able to sneak in front of him, and we are out of the way. But unfortunately, we do not have DRS as well. Sergio Perez and Lando Norris are going to come flying past us with DRS, and maybe even Alex Albon. We are losing time hand over fist, but we are able to squeeze Albon out. I have no idea what is going on. This car feels completely different from when it was on light fuel to heavy fuel, so we are back down into P11. Hopefully we can bounce back a little bit. It looks like Perez and Norris are just streaming off down the distance as we are under pressure from Alex Albon as he has DRS and on the softs as well, so he's going to be able to have a little bit more grip through these corners. It looks like we are able to hold him off for now as we come through the middle sector of lap 5. Hopefully we are able to use the battery to hold off Albon, but with DRS, I'm not 100% sure. Even though we do have the best engine on the grid with the battery, the DRS is still very powerful on this circuit. As you can see, his proximity arrow is just gaining, and he's well within our mirrors. And by the time we come out of this slow or medium speed corner, he's right up on our gearbox, and with another dose of DRS, he's going to be coming up behind us. Going to look a little bit defensive as he's gaining speed, way heavy on the brakes, and he's going to try sneaking around the outside, but we are going to close the door on him. Some pretty clean racing there on both of our parts. Hopefully we're able to drop him, as it looks like he's going to be starting to fight with Nico Hülkenberg and possibly gain some time back on the McLarens of Piastri and Norris. But we are going to jump forward a few laps to lap 7. We are able to hold off Albon just a little bit, but not gain on the McLarens. But it does look like they are starting to squabble just a little bit. But as you can see, Albon has the DRS again, and he is just gaining and gaining. And unfortunately, our battery is pretty low, so we aren't able to deploy as much as we wanted to save it for other parts of the track. But as you can see, he's well within the slipstream. Gonna look for another move on the outside, and it looks like he's gonna stick in behind us. We are able to close the door on him as again, but like I said before, the McLarens are holding each other up. But we're gonna jump forward a little bit to the middle of lap 8. Gonna be defending from Alex Albon. As you can see, again, the McLarens are going side by side through the S's on the track. As we come out of here, we're gonna drop a tire, and oh, we are gonna lose our front wing. Just got on the power a little too much, and if you notice, we got up on the curb, and then when we dropped off the curb, our rear tire just lit up and just completely spun us out. So we do lose a spot, a bunch of spots honestly, but we did come in for our pit stop to put on a new front wing as well as some hard tires. But as you can see, we are coming through on lap 15 into turn 1 and 2, and unfortunately our teammate Felipe Dragovic is out of the race with a mechanical failure. That is not a good sign for us, as you could possibly hear during the beginning of the race. We were worried about some wear on the engine as well as the gearbox. So unfortunate for Felipe. Hopefully we're able to fly our team colors further up the grid. But as we come on to lap 19, it looks like we were under pressure from Nico Hülkenberg, as Alex Albon was on the mediums and he was just able to pull away from us. But hopefully we can hold off Nico Hülkenberg through this part of the lap, and hopefully able to hold him off for the next 10 laps. Not too sure if points are on the table as of right now. Hopefully our strategy is able to come back to us in the end and hopefully gain some few positions. But as of right now, we are just focusing on Nico Hülkenberg as well as Valtteri Bottas. It is going to get spicy as we are running out of battery to defend. And it looks like, oh, there's some contact. It looks like Nico may have hit the wall and then ping-ponged into us and hit our underbody. So we have a little bit of damage on that. But we're going to look for a possible overtake on Nico as we try to make him into a mistake, and there is a mistake, and oh, there's major contact as we get on power too early, and oh, we just completely lose the rear end. We completely lose the car, which has us spinning right into Valtteri Bottas, which will take us out of the race. What a disastrous Australian Grand Prix for the team. 2 DNFs, a mechanical, and then an accident on the track.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
But with that contact, it's going to end our weekend. And what an amazing qualifying we had. We could have easily, been looking at points, but from the highs of qualifying to the very lows of the race, 2 DNFs, what an awful way to, finish out the weekend. But as we look forward at the driving stands as well as the constructors standings, looks like with this win from Charles Leclerc, he's going to be closing the gap on Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship, as well as pretty good results from Ferrari. But as you can see, Charles Leclerc is a race win behind Max Verstappen. Other than that, nothing major to report in the driver's standings, no change or anything like that. But as you can see, with that pretty decent results from Ferrari, they are only 11 points behind Red Bull. So hopefully they are able to, keep up the good work and possibly challenge Red Bull for the Constructors' Championship as well as their drivers. But on our behalf, such a promising weekend. Like I said before, the car felt amazing on one lap pace, but unfortunately it just didn't amount to what we really wanted, which was points. But hopefully we are able to again bounce back into Baku. But on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did miss the last episode, please go check that out, and I will see you guys in the next video.